Hello grade 6s, welcome back to another video. This one is on a continuation of the story now that includes both Athens and Sparta. But to start, there are a few bell ringer questions. Please take time to answer these. Pause the video and answer these questions. Who conquered Judah? What is your favorite event in the Olympics? And when were girls in Athens allowed to attend school? At what age? And so, do your best to answer those. Pause the video. Replay the video once you have answered them. Okay. Now, game plan. Today we're going to learn about the pesky Persians, the shifting of power, and the Peloponnesian War. So, do you remember who threw Daniel in the lion's den? Yep. Darius, king of Persia, right? So, let me tell you a story about the Persians. So, Daniel in the lion's den is happening around the same time as the era we're studying about right now. And there's a guy named Darius. Darius, okay, he was the king of Persia, but he was also a very influential, aggressive man. He was king of the Medes and the Persians. Okay, as you might know, this is after Darius assassinated the king before him. He took over power of the whole kingdom, and so it is a point in history where world conquest was being taken out by countries in the Middle East. Assyria, Babylon, now Persia. And so Assyria, conquered the land of Israel. Babylon conquered the land of Judah. And now Persia is coming. Okay. Athens didn't like it. So Persians, I think I missed a slide. Or I accidentally deleted a slide. One second. The pesky Persians. The Persians were expanding their ground. They could conquer countries, territories, and they would take the people who they conquered and put them in their armies. So their armies began to grow. However, they were more like a mob type army, not very well trained. However, they would go and they would attack. And so, as they're expanding, you can see on your map, the Persians are expanding, and they go in and they are taking on different parts of the world at the time, right? Aeonia. Aeonia is a city in Greece, and it is part of the Greek world. Aeonia. Let me see here. Aeonia. Oh, it's not. Where is it? Anyways, Aeonia. 700s. Athens didn't like. So Aeonia is attacked by the Persians, and the Aeonians were in kind of like an alliance with the Athens. The Athenians didn't like that, and so they, on the account of, I forget who was leading them at this time, the Black Sea. Okay, sorry, I should have done this before. Okay, so Aeonia is a colony of the Greeks, and they were conquered, or they were attacked by the Persians, and after the Persians were victorious in the area, Greeks and Persian rule. So the Athenians didn't like that, so they felt like there's Greeks being lorded over by the Persians. So the Persians came to their aid and were defeated. So Athens, thinking, oh, we can take on this power who's taking over our colony. They go to fight him, defeated. And now the Persians at the same time were determined to conquer the Greek mainland. So at this point there are the Persians conquering colonies of the Greek mainland, and then they're like, well, we just defeated the Greek army, let's go take over the rest of the Greek peninsula, or the mainland. And so Darius the First, a Persian king, knew that Ionia was valuable to the Athenians, remained free to persuade his allies to revolt. So in this time, there's a lot of allies with Athens, and he's intimidating them, saying, go against Athens with me, you won't die. And so In an attempt to save them, they forced 2,000 men, 20,000 men by sail. They go on a boat trip out. Defeated by their own. So as they go, Darius knew the Athenians were a problem, so he goes out. He takes 20,000 men, and 20,000 men by boat, and he goes to this place called Marathon. Okay, these plates, and so, or a plain of Marathon. You can see this. They were vulnerable, so he goes and he attacks them. The Athenians are like, oh, this huge Persian army's coming, and 20,000 people against 10,000 Athenians. What are we going to do? So they go to the Spartans, like, help us, we got to defeat this enemy. If we all fall, they get everything. And so we got to come together to fight against them. And so these two rivals come together, like, okay, Sparta says, we will come, and the Persians show up. There's a big battle of Marathon that goes on, and Sparta doesn't show up, because Sparta, very superstitious, they only march on certain days of the year when the moon is so bright, and so they didn't go. And so Athens is left to fight the big pesky Persians all by themselves. And so they meet in the plains of Marathon. I think that's my next slide. They met. Ultimately, at the end, Athens wins. Okay, there's big battle, and the Persians are defeated. Athens, after winning, they send a runner back to Athens with the news, and it's a 26-kilometer way. And so this guy named Phidippides, he's the guy who ran it. He goes all the way from the Battle of Marathon to the city of Athens. He gets there, and he tells everyone, rejoice, we conquer. And he collapses and dies. And so after that, in commemoration and in the spirit of this huge victory to celebrate, they start the Olympics up with the with the marathon, which we have now. People do it in Central City, right? It's a 26-kilometer run in remembrance of Phidippides, whatever his name is, running a 26-kilometer run, or 26 miles. Let me see how many miles. Oh, it's 26 miles, not 26 kilometers. Battle of Marathon. It says, rejoice, we conquer. And so, now, it's commemorated 1896, the first Olympics started. So, basically, the idea that the Persians were the big, baddest, ugliest people around was defeated in the Greek minds. And so, they had defeated the big, bad Persians. Now they are strong. So, 10 years later, okay, the son of Darius rallies an army, a huge army, probably like 100,000 people. Huge. These are all slaves. People conquered, and he puts them on the biggest fleet of boats ever, and he takes them all the way back to Greece. And instead of going to the Battle of Marathon, he goes a new way. Okay, and this time these huge ships are coming, and there is they land. They send some guys on horseback from the king, saying, Xerxes says, or the god Xerxes, they called him a god back then, right, give up, we've come to conquer you, pay us tribute, right, whatever, they had their things. And Sparta, right, we know Sparta to be that military state, everybody's training for war. You don't come back, you don't retreat, right, it's you fight to the death or you're victorious. And so before the council of elders could declare war, the king with 300 Spartans go, and they come to this place, and I wish I could draw it on here for you, but I can't. Basically, it's like there's just a narrow passageway between cliffs, and so all the Persian army is sitting on this beach, but the only way out is through this narrow passageway. So the king of Sparta takes 300 warriors, and he goes and he sets up his mighty warriors right at the very skinny part of those two cliffs, keeping this entire Persian army from going anywhere. And so day after day, the Persians send their soldiers out to battle these 300 Spartans, and day after day, the Spartans defeat them and kick them back. And then eventually a traitor is found who leads the army of Xerxes around, and these 300 soldiers are eventually surrounded and killed and defeated. But it is the story of the 300, and I remember some of you guys referencing that movie in class, but that is the story that's happening right now. And so that battle, the Battle of Thermopylae. And so the Persians, after defeating the Spartans, the 300 Spartans, remember this is an army of like 100,000, they go up and they're on their way to fight Athens, because Athens humiliated them in battle last time. So they come and they burn it to the ground. They conquer Athens, burn the Acropolis, which is the house where they would worship Zeus. And so the city is lost. However, Athens is built right by the ocean, and these Persians, with all their boats, are on land conquering the city. Well, at sea, the navy, the vessels for war for the Athenians, are destroying the Persian army on water. And so after that, the city was lost, but the battle on the sea was won. And so another feather in the hat for Athens, and I guess Sparta as well. So the Athenians still had the effective navy, and so we see after this time the golden age in Athens. So the Persians are defeated. They have established themselves as being able to conquer them, and it is actually the beginning of the end of the Persian Empire. Later on, we'll learn about somebody who comes and he conquers them. But they won the sea battle in a small harbor, forcing the Persians back, and that's it, right? The Persians and the Greeks, they don't have that much going on for a while, and so this brought peace, okay? This brought peace to the land, and now the surrounding cities all looked to have an alliance with Athens, because Athens showed themselves to be able to beat the Persians. So if you want to beat the Persians, you got to join up with the people who've done it before. If you can't beat them, join them, is what they say. And so they formed a Delian League. Basically, this is an alliance. And so it's city-states who said, when there's trouble coming, we're sending soldiers, we're all going to fight in this together. We are Athenia's Delian League. We're like the UN, right? Those kinds of things. And so this began the Golden League. So a golden age is a time in history where there is stability, free trade. Things are going back and forth. No one's attacking each other because they're all in alliance with each other. And so as money and as trade is happening, then there's safety. There's no threat of being attacked. This provides opportunity, and this is the golden age. This is how you get to a golden age. The ability to trade, people getting more money than they used to, and they're safe, and they don't feel like they're under, because how you act, what you do with your money when you feel threatened is different than when you're feeling comfortable, right? Let's look at the times we're living in right now, the pandemic, everything. So it left more money for the non-essentials, which ultimately led to people being able to do more things like art, spend more time in the government, things like that. And so the golden age just exploded. The ideas, the thinkers, the philosophers, will learn all about that. And so it led to this guy whose name is Pericles. He's the commander and the statesman of Athenia. And he moves the voting age from 30 years to 18 years and tells, I think this is in the year, the golden age, and I don't have this here, but write it down, from the year 460 to the year 429 BC. The year 460 to 429. And so during this time, from 460 a beautiful temple of Athenia was built. The Greek arts and literature flourished. Everything was going smooth. They're giving more people rights to vote. So the power was in the hands of the people. Pericles was the commander and statesman assembled. You know this. So another thing that happened is they began to give citizenship to all who were there. And so, of course, not the slaves and not women and not foreigners. But if you are a Greek, you became a citizen. And so there's the city of Athens had over 100,000 slaves in it, which was they assumed to be more than 1/4 of the percent of the people living there. So they expanded trial juries to have 201 people in the jury to 2,001, meaning when somebody was on trial cases, things like that, you had to provide a lot of evidence. It gave justice a better chance. Now in the U.S., other